Hello lovelies, and welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. Today we're going to be taking a look at a palette that I recently added to my collection and just haven't had a chance to look at just yet, and that is the NYX Ultimate I Know That's Bright palette. This is such a bright and fun palette, and it's got such beautiful vibrant colors in it. You can see them a little bit through the plastic here, and we'll take a closer look at it throughout the video. But we are going to create this really fun, colorful, kind of rainbow inspired look, and the reason I wanted to use this palette today, it's Sunday. We're going to be going to church this morning, and after church today they are going to be having a women's event, and it is a paint and soup event. So there's going to be a teacher there. She's going to lead a class of about 25 of us through a painting. I don't know yet what it's going to be, but we are just going to go through and have that time of fellowship over some soup and some bread, and then we're going to create a painting together. So I'm really excited to get to do that. You can see I've got my painter's palette necklace and some earrings to match, and so I wanted to have just a really fun paint vibe today, and so I wanted to have really bright colorful makeup to go along with my dress today that kind of looks like some paint strokes. So I'm just really excited about this event today. I'm really excited to get to meet some of the other ladies at my church. So today we're just going to go through, we'll take some swatches and go through a tutorial, and then at the end I'll be sure to share my final painting that I made and just a little bit about that event with you. So come along with me and let's make up the rules. This is such a cute and bright palette. It is just so much fun. I absolutely love the packaging on this. It's really cute. It definitely is a great summer palette, and I'm really excited to get to use this over the summer. It is just so many bright shades and just so much versatility in this palette. There's just so much to work with, and I'm really excited to get to swatch this one. I picked up this palette a little while back, and I just haven't had a chance. I've had a lot of other makeup I've been playing with, so I haven't had a chance to take swatches or do a look with this one yet. So this one's completely untouched, and I'm really excited to go ahead and dive in and start taking a look at some of our swatches and taking a closer look at these shades. I thought the swatches of this palette were really pretty, and of course this is a beautiful palette. There are so many vibrant colors in here, so it was really fun to go ahead and take some swatches and get to see how they perform on the skin. I did notice a couple of things that were unexpected for me as I took the swatches. The shimmers in here, especially this hot pink one and this orange one and the purple and green, they really look in the pan like they're going to be very vibrant and very shimmery, but I was a little bit shocked when I applied them on my arm for the swatches that I feel like the glitter in the shimmers kind of disperses a little bit. So they look like mattes just with a little bit of glitter kind of stuck inside of them. And so that was a little bit shocking. I was kind of hoping they would pack a little bit more of a punch and really be some bright, vibrant shimmers. The shades are bright and the colors are bright, but the glitter in them is not as impactful as I was hoping they would be. The mattes are definitely very vibrant and very bright. They are really pretty shades, and I definitely really like this palette and the color story in here. I will say that the formula is not the greatest. Just like how the shimmers don't have the best formula, the mattes didn't either. They were a little bit dry, and so it definitely took a lot of building to really be able to build up the pigment. I was kind of hoping it would be a little bit easier to build these up just with the bright shades in here. So the formula, like I said, was a little bit dry on all the shades in this palette all the way across the board. Of course, it's a drugstore brand, so it's not going to be the best formula ever, but it definitely just could have been a little bit better, a little bit smoother. There was just kind of a chalkiness to the different shades as I was picking them up. But other than that, the actual shades in here are beautiful. They swatch very pretty, and I'm really excited to see how they perform on the eye and how they blend into one another. So let's go ahead and jump into that tutorial and try these out. I went ahead and primed my eyes with my Ulta Beauty Pigment Pop Eye Primer. This is a white-based eye primer for eyeshadows, and so it's definitely going to create a lot more of a pack and a punch with these beautiful bright shades as we're dipping into this palette. Of course, I'm kind of going for a painting theme. It really makes it more like a canvas on your eyelids, and then we can go ahead and dip into our beautiful vibrant paints. So I'm really excited to go ahead and try a look today. I think I'm going to, on the top of my lid, go for a little bit more of a bluish green look. I'm really loving the blues and greens in here. I'm thinking they're really pretty, and I think they're going to make a really pretty look as I blend them together. And then as I'm moving to the lower lash line, I'm going to go a little bit more warm tone and go into some of those reds and pinks and oranges and really just create a very blended, very colorful look today. And so I'm going to go in with an Ulta Beauty Fluffy Blending Brush, and I'm going to go ahead and start out going across the crease. I'm going to start lighter and build up darker as we go towards the outer corner. So I think on the top, I'm going to go ahead and start with some yellow. I'm going to go in with this really beautiful, vibrant yellow up here on the top. There are no shade names on here, so it's really just the colors that are in here. But these are just such beautiful shades, and I'm really excited to get to dive into them. So I'm going to pick up just some of that yellow pigment on my brush, and I'm going to try to keep my mirror out of the camera so we can keep focused. This is my beautiful mirror I got from Andrea Marie Cosmetics. I absolutely love it, and it's great when there's not a mirror in the palette. So I'm going to just take this fluffy blending brush and just start to apply this yellow pigment right here on the center part of my crease. Just blending in just a little bit of this just to get some nice lightness towards the inner corner. It is a really pretty shade. It is definitely very light. I do think these are going to be more of buildable shades. They are definitely not enough pigment right off the get-go. You're going to have to kind of build them up, but they definitely, I think, are going to have some good payoff just because they are such beautiful, vibrant shades. So I'm just continuing to pick some up on my brush and just building up this pigment and just going ahead and just kind of blending it right here on just kind of this inner third of my lid and going across the crease. I definitely feel like the Pigment Pop Eye Primer is really helping just to create a lot more pigment and a lot more just dimension to this look. So that's really pretty, and that's a great start for this kind of blue-green ombre effect that we're going to do across the crease. I'm going to go ahead and pop some on the other side, and I'll be right back. I'm really loving that bright yellow. I think it is really pretty for the inner corner. Now as we're starting to move more across the crease, I do want to kind of move a little bit more into those green shades. So the next one I'm going to go into is going to be this one right here. It's a little bit more of a sunflower yellow. There's definitely a bright, vibrant yellow and then a little bit deeper of one. So I'm going to sort of use that as we transition more into the greens and the blues. So again, just using that same brush without cleaning it off in between, I'm just going to pick a little bit of pigment up on my brush and just put just a little bit of this right here on the crease, just kind of blending into that first yellow shade and just starting to create a little bit of a transition. Not a lot of pigment, just a little bit, just to kind of create that little bit of a movement into the deeper shades. So I'm going to pop some on the other side as well and just really kind of build up some pigment, and that's all I'm going to put, just a little bit, just to make that transition into the green. So next we're going to go ahead and jump into this beautiful green shade. I'm really excited to use this one, and it is definitely very beautiful and very vibrant. I love the embossings in this palette too. They have some little sunglasses and some little starbursts in there, or sunbursts in there, so they're really, really cute. So I've got some of that green on my brush, so now I'm going to go ahead and just continue to move across the crease and just go ahead and blend this into those yellows. And I definitely feel like that sunflower yellow is a good transition shade from the bright yellow into the green. I think it just kind of softens that just a little bit and really gives the green something to kind of grab onto and blend into. I will say they definitely do take some building, and it definitely takes several dips into the palette to really be able to get very much pigment or a really bright shade, but I definitely feel like they're blending together very nicely and creating just kind of a nice cohesive look across the crease. And I think that looks really pretty. Again, just kind of dipping into it over and over again and just really taking my time and blending these in, and I think that's the best way to get some really good color payoff with this palette. And I'm just kind of going down into my eye socket also just a little bit, just to make sure that I've got everything covered and really blending everything together nicely. That is really pretty. I'm really liking that kind of ombre gradient effect. So I'm going to go ahead and put some on the other side, and then we're going to dip a little bit more into the blues. I'm really loving this green and yellow combination. It really reminds me of a sunflower field during the summertime. I think it is really pretty, and I really like the shades. I think they're blending together really beautifully. So I definitely want to continue to add some color and some pigment to this look. So I'm going to go into some blue now, and I'm going to start out with this really pretty light blue here. It is such a beautiful shade, and I'm really excited to see how this blends in with the green and those yellow looks that we've got. So I'm going to just pick some of that up on my brush, and I'm going to apply this right here on the outer third of my crease and just kind of blend it into that green shade. And I think that's going to be really pretty, and we're going to deepen it up just a little bit more with the other blue shade in here, but just to start to really build up some blue pigment. I definitely feel like this blue has just a hint of green in it, so I think it'll blend really nicely into that green shade and really create a very pretty look. It's kind of more like a turquoise kind of blue, kind of somewhere in between sort of turquoise blue and kind of a sky blue. It's a very pretty shade. It's very unique, and I think it looks really nice with the green. I'm definitely kind of pulling the green from the center of my crease into the outer corner and really just kind of blending these together using soft circular motions, just going back and forth and really pulling all of the pigments together. And I'm pulling this down into my lid as well, starting to just kind of deepen up the outer corner of my eye and really just continuing to blend. I'm going to start pulling a little bit more across the crease as well, just to really create a nice blend and make sure everything is nice and cohesive together. And these shades are just so pretty. They're just blending together so beautifully and really creating a very cohesive look. It's definitely very pretty and very vibrant. It's a little more muted than I was sort of expecting as I was dipping into this palette. I was thinking, of course, these really bright shades that was going to come out very bright and very vibrant and almost kind of neon, but it's definitely creating just a more soft, pretty look, and I'm really enjoying that. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of that blue on the other side, and I'll be back and we'll add some more blue and really deepen up this look. I am really happy with how these shades are blending together. I think it is creating a very pretty look across the crease. I do want to deepen it up just a little bit more with this nice deep blue shade. This is a really interesting shade in this palette. It almost kind of looks like it would be a little bit of a shimmer or just a little bit of kind of a glossy shade, but it's definitely more matte but it was definitely more matte when I swatched it, so I think it was just really pretty, and I think it'll just kind of deepen up this outer corner really nicely and add a little bit more blue. The outer corner shade definitely came out a little bit more on the green side, which I really like. I think it blended very nicely with the green that we applied in the center of the crease, and I think this other blue shade is just going to just kind of bring a little bit more blue back into this look and really just deepen up the outer corner. This is definitely a very bright and vibrant palette, and I think this blue shade is one of the deepest in here, so that's really not saying very much because it's still a very vibrant color. So just deepening it up just a little bit, but it's still going to be a very bright and vibrant look overall. So I am applying this in the outer corner of the lid and going up just a little bit into this outer part of the crease and just kind of blending everything together so I don't have any harsh line, and I'm really just kind of building up this pigment. It is really pretty and definitely bringing more blue back into the lid and a little bit up into the crease as well. And again, just picking up a little bit on my brush at a time and just building up the pigment just a little bit as I blend and build up. That is so pretty. I'm absolutely loving how these are blending together. They are very soft and very just kind of muted tones as they're going together, but I think it looks really nice. And this definitely is a little less like an acrylic paint and a little more like a watercolor, which is a little bit unexpected for this palette that has such bright, vibrant shades, but I love that they're blending together really nicely and creating a very cohesive look. I went ahead and blended some of that deeper blue on the other side, so we are done with the mattes in the crease, and I also went ahead and primed my eyes with my NYX glitter primer. And like I said when I was taking the swatches, I feel like the shimmers in this palette look really pretty in the pan, but when I swatched them on my arm, just straight to my arm, I definitely felt like the glitter really dispersed in them and it didn't have as much of a pack and a punch as I was hoping. So I'm really hoping having some glitter primer and applying these on the eye is really going to help to create more of that really bright, vibrant shimmer that I'm hoping for. So let's go ahead and try those out, and we're going to see how they apply. I am going to go in with an Ulta Beauty flat shadow brush, and I'm going to go ahead and go into this shade right here. You can tell a little bit, it's got a little bit of glitter in here. It's definitely not as bright or vibrant as some of these other shimmers. It's going to be a little bit more matte with just a little bit of shimmer in it, but I'm hoping that the glitter primer is really going to help to make it pop more. So I'm just going to pick up some of that pigment on my brush. It is very pigmented and really pretty, and I'm going to go ahead and apply this on the center of my lid, just kind of blending it into that blue and that green in the outer corner. So just kind of using my brush and just tapping this on the lid and just creating just a nice, beautiful shimmery look on the inner part of my lid going into the outer corner. I think that's really pretty. Like I said, it's definitely more matte, and it's got just a little bit of glitter in it, so I think it's just going to have just a nice little pop in there, but not too much. And just kind of making sure that I cover any blank spots on my lid and blending it into that outer corner shade. I do think it blends very well into that shade on the outer corner. They're very similar shades, and so I think they're going to look really nice together. So just again putting that just right there on the center of the lid, and then we're going to add some more shimmer as we move towards the inner corner. I went ahead and applied that shade on the other side, and I wiped off my brush. So now we are ready to go into this beautiful green shimmer here, and I'm really hoping this one is going to look really pretty as we're moving towards the inner corner. It is a very, very pretty shade. I really like how this one looks. I'm really excited to try it out. So we're going to go ahead and just pop this right next to that other shade and apply this more on the inner part of the lid. And that is definitely much more vibrant. I do think that the glitter primer is really helping with this shade and really building it up and really helping the shimmer in there to really pop. And I think that's definitely creating a very nice vibrant look on the lid. I'm going to probably pull this over that other shade a little bit just because the glitter in that other shade was so muted. It didn't really pop very much on the lid, but I think that's going to look really pretty to just kind of gently blend it into that other shade, so it will get a little bit darker across the lid even though we've still got this bright green shimmer. So just kind of pulling it across the lid and really just helping it to kind of blend and pop on the eyelid. That green is so beautiful. That looks exactly how I was hoping it would look, and it looks how it looks in the pan. So I'm really glad that the swatches were just a little deceiving, and it definitely looks really pretty on the eye. So I'm just going to pull a little bit more, just create a nice beautiful pop of shimmer, and I think that's blending very nicely into that other shade in the middle, and I think it's really creating a nice pop. So I'm going to put some of this green on the other side, and then we'll start working on the lower lash line. That is so pretty. I absolutely love how all of these blues and greens blended together, and I think it's creating a really nice cohesive look. But now I want to start with the lower lash line to kind of move into some of the warmer shades and really to play with more of these oranges and pinks and reds and really create a very colorful look with this eyeshadow look. So I'm going to go in with an Ulta Beauty Collection flat liner brush, and I'm going to start out, I think, with this beautiful orange shade. This one is so pretty, and I'm going to apply this one more towards the inner corner, and then we'll deepen up a little bit more as we move to the outer corner. So I'm just going to pick some of this up on the end of my brush, and I'm going to apply this right here on this inner part of the lower lash line, just as we're moving towards the center, just kind of creating a nice light beginning to the lower lash line, and just pulling it. I'll probably pull it about halfway across the lower lash line just so I can start to blend the other shades in as we move across. That is really pretty. That is such a beautiful color, and I think as we start to deepen up, it's going to look really pretty blended into the other shades. Next, as we're starting to transition into more of the pinks, I'm going to go into this shade right here. This one is sort of a mix between the orange and this hot pink, so I think it's going to be a really good transition shade as we continue to move across the lower lash line. So just using that same brush without cleaning it off, I'm going to just pick some of this up, and I'm going to blend it right here on the center and just kind of blending it into that orange shade so that we've got a just nice even blend across the lid. And I think that looks really pretty. and it's just creating just a little bit more of a hint of pink as we're moving across. That is such a beautiful shade. I absolutely love how that looks. Now we're going to continue to deepen up the pink, so we're going to go into that beautiful hot pink down here. That one is such a pretty shade. It swatched really beautifully. I'm excited to try this one on the eyes. So using, again, that same brush and just picking up some of that pigment and just blending it as we're moving across the lower lash line. I am pulling them down just a little bit, so it's a nice thick line across the lower lash line and just creating a very bold look. It is so pretty. These are blending together seamlessly. I love that transition from the orange to the pink using that kind of middle shade. I think it looks really nice and is creating a very cohesive look. And then the last matte shade that I want to use on the lower lash line is going to be this beautiful red shade. And so I'm just going to, again, use that same brush and just finish out this outer corner of the lower lash line with this beautiful shade and just blending it into that pink. It is such a beautiful shade, and I love just this combination of these colors. It is so pretty. This look is turning out beautifully. And I don't want to pull this too much into the outer corner up here or blend the blues with this red. So I'm just going to kind of clean that up with my finger just a little bit, just to keep it from going up too far into that outer corner. It's so pretty. I am pulling it down, just blending it into the pink and just building up that pigment, and that really creates such a bright, vibrant look across the lower lash line. This look is turning out so pretty. I do want to add a little bit of an inner corner highlight, and I think that's really going to bring this whole look together and really make it. So I'm really trying to decide, because I've used so much of the pink and the orange across the lower lash line, what shade I wanted to use, and I think I'm going to use both. I've got this beautiful pink shimmer up here, and then this beautiful orange shimmer down here. So I think I'm going to just kind of use a little bit of a combination of the two. I went ahead and dabbed just a little bit of my NYX glitter primer into the inner corners just to help to create a little bit of tackiness for both of these shimmer shades. And then I'm going to go in with a detailing brush from Real Technique and just going to kind of pick up a little bit of these shades and sort of blend them in together. So I'm going to start with the orange shade and just pick a little bit of that up, and just going to start tapping this right here on this inner corner, and that is such a pretty shade. It is so beautiful and vibrant, and definitely creating a lot more dimension to this look. I'm going to pull this down into this orange shade down here on the lower lash line and just kind of blend it into that and just create a little bit more of a cohesive look here. And pulling this orange up into the yellow on the crease just a little bit, just so it just kind of blends into the look. That is really pretty. Now with that same brush, I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that nice hot pink shimmer and just start kind of blending it right on top of that orange. And again, pulling it down into the lower lash line just a little bit. And then I'm just going to kind of use my finger and just kind of clean that up and just kind of press them together and blend them together a little bit. And I think that's really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and pop some of that on the other side, and then we'll wrap up this look. I am so happy with how this look turned out. I think it is so pretty. Everything blended together so nicely and created just such a beautiful and vibrant look, which is also just a little bit more muted. Again, this is just such a bright palette, and so I love that all of these shades just blend together and kind of mute each other out just a little bit, just create such a beautiful and cohesive look. So I'm going to go ahead and step off camera, add some finishing details, and I'll be right back so we can take a look at the final look. And here's the completed look. I'm so happy with how this turned out. I think it is so beautiful and so vibrant. For my finishing touches, I went ahead and added a bold wing just because this is such a bold eyeshadow look. I really wanted to play on that. I went in with my Wet n Wild Breakup Proof Waterproof Eyeliner. This is in Ultra Black. And then I tightlined on the top and on the lower waterline with Ultra Beauty Automatic Eyeliners. On the top, I went in with Matte Black, and then on the bottom, I went in with Matte Powder Pink. And then to finish off my eyes, I went in with my Tarte Maneater Maneater waterproof mascara. And then I also wanted to add a little bit of highlighter with this look just because it's such a bright and vibrant and fun look, and I thought some highlighter would really help make this pop. And so I tried out for the first time today my NYX Buttermelt highlighter. This is in the shade Buttermelt, and this is such a pretty highlighter. It is just kind of a minty green. It is really, really pretty. I did go off camera and I created a short with this, so that'll be coming up soon, and if it's not already posted, so definitely keep an eye out for that. It is really pretty, and I think it added just an extra little sheen and glow to this look that really helped to make this vibrant look pop. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in. We'll take a closer look at the final look, and then I'll be back to share some of my initial thoughts about this palette with you, as well as a little bit about the paint and soup event at my church. I really enjoyed my first time using the NYX Ultimate I Know That's Bright palette. This one was a lot of fun. It is just a very fun color story. You can see it is just so bright and so vibrant. This is definitely a great, really summertime palette when you don't want a lot of dark colors. You just really want everything to be light and vibrant. I know we're still a little bit early in the year to be using this palette, but I thought it would be great with my paint theme that I had going on today to have just some really beautiful, vibrant, bright colors to wear with my my palette earrings and necklace, and then this dress. And so I really enjoyed getting to use this. I thought that the colors were beautiful. This color story is just so eye-catching and so fun. I definitely don't feel like any of these colors are necessarily unique to my color story, but I think a palette like this is, putting all of them together. I definitely could probably pull a lot of these shades from other palettes in my collection, and they would probably be a little bit better formula. Like I mentioned earlier as we were taking the swatches, most of the mattes in here are a little bit on the dry side. They definitely take just a little bit of work to kind of get out of the pan, but they're pretty good, and I definitely felt like they were very blendable. And they were definitely buildable. I personally tend to prefer when I only have to dip into a pan once or twice and I can get quite a bit of product and be able to really build up the color that I want. This one took a little more work. It took a little more effort and time just to really build up the color and to blend. So definitely if you don't really like that either, this might not be the best palette for you. When I took the swatches, I felt like the shimmers in here were definitely very light and the glitter didn't really show up very well, but as you can see with this green shade, this one up here on the top that we applied on the lid, I definitely felt like the shimmer really popped using my NYX glitter primer and really being able to give it some tackiness that it could hold on to, and really performed well on the skin. So I definitely thought that worked out really well, and I definitely really liked the shimmer when I applied it on the eye, especially mixing this pink and this orange for the inner corner highlight. I thought that was a really fun touch with this look, and I think it added just an extra little pop of color. I really like the shades in here. I do wish that there was a blue shimmer in here. We did use this shade in this look today, but as we applied it, you could see it was more matte with just a little bit of glitter in it. I definitely wish there was more of a solid shimmer, but that's the only shade that I really feel like is missing from this palette. Of course, there's not a lot of darkness or a lot of depth to really create very deep or dimensional looks. It's mostly just these bright light colors, but if you want to have a fun look and a very colorful look, this is definitely the palette for you. And as I'm wrapping up the video, I did already go to church this morning, and we went ahead and had our paint and soup event, and it was so much fun. All of the ladies there were so sweet and really just made it such a fun experience. We went in and they had plenty of soups. They had several different ones in some crock pots, so they were nice and hot for some cooler weather outside, and we were able to just go around and pick out the soups that we wanted. I got a couple of bowls and just kind of mixed a couple of the soups together. I got one that had tortellini and sausage, an Italian one, some potato soup, and a white chicken chili, and it was so good, and the bread with it was delicious. So it was just so nice just to get this a nice warm meal when it was cold outside. And then the painting was so fun. They had tables set up around the room, and they had canvas and some paintbrushes and the paint and everything at each of the seats. And then there was a easel up in the front, in the middle where the teacher, she was leading the class and teaching us how to paint this painting. And so it was really cool just to see her finished product and to see what we were going to paint. I absolutely love painting like this, going to things like painting with a twist or even just painting at home. I really enjoy it. It's really fun just to have that creative outlet. So I really enjoyed getting to go and experience that with some other ladies at our church. And when we arrived at the painting class, they had all of our name tags put out on a table, and I thought the name tags were so cute, so I just wanted to share this. And that was the one that I got. They had several different kinds. Some of them had individual paint brushes, some had other different splatters of paint, but I just thought they were so cute and I just wanted to share that. So I'm going to just share with you, this is my completed painting that I made. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I think it was really cute. It was a lot of fun just getting to do a little beach scene and definitely getting to blend all of these shades together. It's still just a little bit tacky. Just got home not too long ago, but it was really fun getting to create the little turtle and the flip-flop and then beach umbrellas and then even a little shark fin out here. They did not initially have the gray on the plates, but they said that they had some gray paint if someone wanted to make a dolphin or a shark on their painting, and I really love shark movies, so I thought that would be fun to include that in my beach painting. I thought that the beach umbrellas were a lot of fun. It was a really cool technique. They were called balloon kisses, and so we blew up balloons just a little bit, not very large, and tied them off. And then what you would do is you would put your paint in a circular shape on your paper plate, and then you could take your brush and create sort of a snowflake type shape, doing like a cross and a plus sign, creating that with a different shade on your circle. And then you could even put another shade on the outer rim, creating a circle around that circle that you created. And then you would take the balloon and dip it into the paint, get it nice and covered, and then you would transfer it over onto your canvas. And so you would just push down and all of the colors would transfer. It was really cool. I had never seen that technique used before, and I thought it turned out really cool. It created a really fun kind of tie-dye effect for the beach umbrella, so that was definitely really fun to get to experience a painting class and getting to learn a new technique. So I had a lot of fun. It was really enjoyable getting to eat some soup, go and just meet some of the ladies at my church, and getting to create something fun. Of course, I love art, I love makeup, I love anything creative, so this was really a lot of fun and such a cool event that they offered at my church. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed going through the NYX Ultimate I Know That's Bright palette. I had so much fun taking a look at this palette, taking some swatches, and creating this fun, colorful, vibrant look with you. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below all about this look, what your thoughts were, have you tried this palette, and if you enjoyed it as well. If you like this video, please go ahead and let me know by hitting that like button. And if you'd like to see more makeup content, then please subscribe to my channel. Until next time, let's be kind to each other, beautiful to ourselves, and never afraid to make up the rules.